finally live. Okay, testing the sound before anything else. Richard, does it sound good? Happy Sunday, everyone. How's everybody doing? Can you believe it is, we're now at December already, and this is the last live for 2023. Let me know in the comments if you guys can hear. Oh, great. You guys can hear me. Okay. I have to warn you. So I'm trying this whole bunch of new equipment here so I can give you guys better live experiences and such. Unfortunately, the fan on my laptop is still very, very loud. So you might hear that in the background, which is annoying because now I have a really good mic that picks up on all these tiny little bits. But yeah, let me know in the comments who's here so I can say hi to you guys, and we will start soon enough. But I wanted to start off with, hi Christine, hi Usha. Thank you for confirming you can hear. If you guys are just joining in or don't know who I am or what I do, currently on my YouTube channel, we're doing the Pink Holiday series, and we've done all of these pink goodies right here. So go check it out. There's 2 more coming to the channel. Well, 1 more actually. This is the one that came out on Thursday, where we did like a aloha style Christmas tree or holiday tree, and then we've got this guy coming out soon on Thursday coming up. So stay tuned for that. And I also went ahead and did like a looser version of the tree here just for those, just because like I really like the pink, and I felt like my original tree had a lot of like red in it. But here's another one with silver tinsel. Okay, and so let me just put these aside because for today's live, I'm going to keep it tied in with the whole pink theme that we've been doing so far. And we're going to do pink. But feel free to use the color that you like in case you don't like pink and you want to use purple maybe. Go ahead and do that. Yes. Oh, and these 2 are on Patreon. These are the exclusive videos on Patreon. I absolutely love how we did, or how I did the background over here. Once again, very, very pink. This one I decided, let's do a little bit more purple, but this is supposed to be for the upcoming new year. So people have something a little more festive, but not as Christmassy. So there we go. Those are all that we're doing. And this is going to be the last live, guys, for this year. And there's going to be lots of updates coming up in the new year. Hi, Letitia from Idaho. Amapola, hello, welcome. And I just wanted to make this special. So today's live, we're painting, and I'm going to get to it in a bit. But we're going to be, this is going to be more of a painting / crafty video. So let me finish my spiel, and then I'm going to tell you exactly what we're doing. But in the meantime, maybe get some paper while I'm chit-chatting. And I think you guys can see this, right, on the video. Let me see if I can make this a little brighter. There we go. So what I need you guys to do is do a rough sketch. It's going to be 2 circles. One is, the first circle is fairly big, and I've used like a cover of something to do this. This is what I used for my first circle right there, and this is what I used for my second circle. So like 2 different circles, and we've got the little top happening over here, and then we have a little pointed edge for the bottom. So I just rubbed out the bottom and kind of drew that in. So do a rough sketch of this, or for those who are just watching and you're going to paint this afterwards, that's fine too. And I will get back with colors and stuff just as soon as you guys are finished sketching. So let me know in the comments when you're done sketching and such, okay? So yeah, so after this video and after the live for this month, and after the last series, the little flamingo bird that's going to come out as part of the pink holiday series, I'm going to take a little bit of a relaxation time to regroup and replan, restructure things around a little bit for 2024. So I hope you guys are excited. I'm excited. I have a lot of amazing things to share with you guys, but lots of things happened this year as well, and I'm very, very grateful for all the opportunities that came my way. While it's the holiday season, I want to remind you guys, I've got a couple of spots left for my Tuscan retreat. So if you're looking to relax and unwind, come next year with me. I am celebrating a big milestone birthday as well, and so this is why I've decided to make it a retreat and have some of y'all accompany me. Sponsors of the event are going to be Princeton and My Mary, and now we've got KMS, who's going to be adding a little bit of her metallics in the swag bags. So you guys do not need to pack your art supplies. Everybody gets art supplies on the retreat. We get to stay on a historical vineyard with a restaurant and beautiful views. We're also doing a tour to Siena. So lots and lots of fun things happening. It's happening May 2024. Few spots are left, so check it out. It's on the website, but I'll also list it in the description below so you guys can see that soon enough. Okay, so on that note, let me change what my screen looks like so you can see less of my face and more of my table. And then, as per usual, please let me know if you have any questions as we're going along. Every now and then I'll look up and then we will proceed that way. Okay, so this is what we have. So I'm assuming some of y'all may have finished sketching. Feel free to drop me a note in the comments if you haven't. I'm also going to zoom in a little bit. Perfect. And so this way you can see better. Okay. So my supplies. I'm actually using my Baohong paper for this one here. And trying to find the book so I can show you what that looks like. This is the Baohong paper right here. I love the texture on this, and this is also the paper I used to paint these beauties on here, and I just really like that nice watercolor effect that it has. So this is what we're going to be doing. Now, what we're painting today is we're creating little gift tags. So after we finished painting, I'll be taking, not scissors, feel free to use your scissors though, I'll be taking a little X-Acto knife and just kind of trying to get all these details neatly cut out. But this is where our ribbon is going to be. So it's going to be like a nice little Christmas ornament. And then I'm also contemplating you could add a couple of tassels at the bottom over here for your finished product. But let's get to painting first, and then we'll figure out all the details after. Jen, where did you get that cute dress? Thank you, Jen. This was actually a dress that I got last year online on a store called, it's Canadian. So if you're from the States, I don't know if you would have it there, but you probably have cuter things. Urban Planet, very cute stuff and very Christmassy. So yeah. Okay, so for my brushes, I'm going to be keeping the following brushes aside. The Velvetouch number 4, Neptune number 6. I'm going to keep the wash brush handy as well. And I'm not going to be using these two, so I'll keep those aside. And then the Princeton Round Heritage in the 0 for tiny details, just in case. I'm definitely keeping metallics because we're going to be doing metallics in here. And for colors, I'm keeping, like I said, this is also going to be an extension of the pink holiday series that I've been doing. So we're going to use very, very similar colors. So my favorites, if you've been following those videos along, have been the Aquafine Permanent Rose. Alizarin is not here, but the Quinacridone Magenta is. And I love the effect of Portrait Pink alongside the rose in here. So that's definitely on there. I'm also keeping Maple Yellow handy because I feel like it goes well. Yellow ochre as well. And for greens, we're doing an olive green, and we're also going to be doing Viridian. And I like mixing that up with a little bit of raw sienna or sepia. So 2 kinds of browns, 2 kinds of yellows, 2 kinds of pinks, 2 kinds of greens, and then we've got that flesh tone. I have these additional colors on the side, but if I end up using it, I'll let you know. Okay, so here's what we are going to be doing. We're going to first tackle our main bauble, and I'm going to create, the first bauble is going to be Loose and Whimsical Blooms in pink, and we're going to have a little bit of the yellow in it. And then the bottom is going to be black and white, and it's just going to be stripes. And the juxtaposition of these 2 different styles together, one soft, one bright, very Kate Spade-ish, very stylish, totally a vibe that I love. And then we'll do the metallics for the little ornamental bit at the top. And yeah, so got water ready. First thing I'm going to do is, using the wash brush, we're going to dampen our first circle just with water, and then we're going to get a little bit of the portrait pink to add that to our background. So the mixture that I'm looking for the portrait pink is going to be, for the mix that I'm looking for is going to be about like 20-80%. So like 20% color, 80% water. We want a nice halo sort of feel in the back. So we want the background to be light and complement our pink that we're going to be doing on here. So I'm not adding too much water to the edges there where I have a little bit of a frill. And the reason being is because I'm going to use my brush to kind of add those little details in. Now, one thing to keep in mind as you're submerging this area with color, which is going to be our next step, we want the darkest or most of the color to be on the outskirts. And so the middle section is going to be a lot lighter than the outer bits, okay? So keep that in mind. All right, here we go. I got my color handy, so I'm just gonna go ahead and using the number 6, we're going to start adding this color in. It's a beautiful flesh tone. It says portrait pink, but it's more of like a peachy color. I'm now adding that nice little frill below our area there at the top, and then I'm going off to the second side or the right side to add my color here. One more thing to leave, and just sort of keep this in mind. Maybe you want to use masking fluid for this, maybe a little bit too late in the game right now, I don't know. But keeping a little bit of a white space, maybe more on this side here. So let me just draw that in right now. So I want to keep more, you know how they have a glisten usually on baubles like this. So just like a long area like this, like a triangle just coming downward a little bit. And I'll just do a little extension of it there. Just for guidance for me as I am painting this in. So like I mentioned, you want the edges to be a lot darker, so we're just going in and adding a little bit of a second layer, slightly darker in here. And then you can pull this down, make sure you're not getting into the little area that we've decided we're going to keep white. And then I'm going to add a little bit more of the color at the base. So loving the bloom. If you want to drop in fact, as I'm looking at this right now, it'd be nice to have a little bit of like a pinky hue. So I'm getting some of my pinky rose or permanent rose. I'm going to drop that in here. Now's the perfect time because things are damp, and so you can get a beautiful pink glow, slightly different tone happening within our background. So let this dry, and while this is drying, we're going to go ahead and tackle the base of this. So like I mentioned, I wanted to keep the base, or I want to keep the base more of a black and white, and so we'll do Payne's Gray. So this is one of the colors that I had kept off to the side. And what I'm going to do is get a very dark consistency and alternate. Now, because we've got, I think there's three different, what would you call it? 3 stripes here that would be black. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 that will be white. So I like the aspect of keeping the outer bits white-ish. So I'm going to start off with mixing just a little bit of my Payne's Gray onto the side here. We're using this to sort of just highlight that there's, that it's white and it's giving us a little bit of a glisten. So once again, I'm going to get my number 4, not once again, for the first time I'm taking my number 4, but we're using this technique, the same technique that we sort of used up, where we're dampening the area, wet on wet, guys. This was some of my first videos for 2023, how to do the basic wet on wet technique. So I'm dampening the outer bit here, just that first sliver, and then I'm taking the Payne's Gray that I have mixed on this brush, and I'm dropping it in at the top and at the bottom and allowing it to sort of submerge into this damp area. We want it to be super light, so I don't even know if you can see it as well, but I'm going to take the number 4 again with a little bit of water, and I'm pulling the color into the middle area a little bit. So now we've got a nice gradual dark to light sort of thing happening. Very light. We just want it to be like letting people know that, yeah, this area is white, but it is the gray shadowy bits that's showing through. Same technique we're using on this side here. Which did I dampen? Yeah, I dampened it with this. So here we go, just taking the 4 and dampening just the middle section of the far left bar, I guess, or stripe, and then taking the second brush and adding our color in. Can you guys see? Can you just confirm if you guys can see it clearly? Because on my screen, it's looking very dark. I want to make sure you guys are able to see it properly. And while I wait for you guys to... Okay, great. Just wanted to make sure. It's looking dull on my screen for some reason. So same thing. Now we're going to go ahead and do this on our... So we've done the far left. We're going to leave one area white. I'm going to paint that black in after, and then we're doing the alternate, the one next to that, the alternating one. So dampening it, dropping in some of our, thanks Robin, dropping in some of the gray from the top. Now we want it to drop from the top, so we can get that nice shadowy effect like this. This bauble over here is giving us a little bit of a shadow on this area at the very top. We're not going super detailed when it comes to adding realism on this level, but these tiny little things that you can do into your loose artwork really do help guide the eye and also enhance the overall look and feel of your artwork. So same thing here. I've just dampened it with my number 4, and then using number 6, I'm getting my gray, and I'm just dropping that in. And I'm not painting that whole area. Notice that I'm kind of guiding it into the water and allowing the water to do its bloomy, gorgeous watercolor effect. And then I'm getting a little bit more and dropping more at the very top and a little bit at the bottom. So we've got darks at the ends and then light in the middle. You can even do this after, and that's more of a wet on dry effect. That's not wrong either. It really is a preference. There's no right or wrong in art, my opinion. Okay, so we've done that. Allow this to dry. Now let's see if we can maybe go ahead and do our flowers here, maybe a little bit longer. So while we're waiting for that, let's tackle our golden part here. So I'll use the number 4 for that, and I am going to use, let's see, I love using her champagne KMS, but I think I'll do the, just to switch things up a bit, I'm going to use the pink. No, you know what? I'm going to do the bronze because I feel like we'll have a lot of pink happening here, and I don't want there to be any sort of interference. So let's not go too bold. I'll go with the bronze, and I think the bronze will be a nice offset and contrast against our soft pinks, and also the black and white happening at the bottom. So we're just, honestly, we're just painting this in. It's metallic. There's not a lot of, I mean, you can leave, I think you can leave white space in between. That would be nice if you want to add a little bit of show and tell detail, or lack thereof, loose detail. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm leaving a little bit of white space in between instead of painting the whole thing in. And that's going to be indicative of light and shadow and shine and shimmer. Because this is, you know, metallics are pretty straightforward. There's no real light or dark mixture happening. It's all metallic, it's all fun. I guess you could get lighter, but why would you with metallics? So I'm just making sure that my little curves at the bottom are perfect. And then leaving that top area a little bit open. I'm going to paint in our, what would you call this part? I'm not quite sure. The part where we're going to cut out and the ribbon is going to be hanging out from here. So painting this in, I'm also leaving a little bit of white space here as well, just to, again, glisten and shine sort of thing. Perfect. So this is done. That's what that looks like. Let me just perfect this edge here. It's looking to be a little bit off. Perfect. So that's done. I still want to wait we're going to keep our flowers for the very end because I don't want to mess that up. I want to make sure this is dried up properly. Let's go ahead and take the paint spray and fill in the alternating bits over here so we can get some nice super dark areas happening. Feel free to use that first brush, or a second brush rather, depends on how you see it, to dampen the area first, then drop in the color. I think I'm going to start off with just, no, I want to dampen the area first. I always try to go ahead and paint in without doing anything, and I fail every single time because I love dampening the area and then dropping the color, because that bloom that you see as soon as you drop the color in is what's the most exciting to me. This thing right here. I love it. Just make sure that your edges are dry so that it doesn't seep into the light gray area. And once again, if you want to try and leave a little bit of white space in between, just to kind of give it that rough or loose effect, try it out. If it's not working for you, you don't really like it, you can just fill it in with the dark gray. So see what you like, go with the flow, and trust your artistic instinct as you are painting along. So there we go. So we've got a nice, that's the whole idea, to get black and white happening, right? So in fact, you could do the same idea with the having the darkest areas of your gray at the top and the bottom to kind of indicate that nice glare, and adding a little bit of depth. It's a little bit late right now, but another thing I could do is swipe off some color. So washing off my brush, I could just sort of swipe off the gray and then just dab it onto some paper towel on the side. So the darkest areas are at the top and at the bottom. And it gives us that nice sense of depth and roundness to our little bauble here. Okay, simple enough. Lifting off color, that's what it's called. So here we go, dampening this area in the center. Getting some of my paint spray, dropping that right in the center here, allowing it to submerge left and right, and then just perfecting my bottom where it meets the tip, and then lightly painting in at the top as well. Okay, then washing off my brush, I'm just going to use the remaining color to sort of move that, move it around and cover up the space. I've left a little bit of white space unintentionally, but now I'm intentionally leaving it open or uncolored, because I like how it looks. And so again, we've got that nice gradual dark to light happening. So same idea, we're going to move on and do it to this one over here. So dampening this area in the center the most. Then getting my gray, dropping that in one stroke, and then really adding it to the bottoms to get our nice dark areas. Very Kate Spade-ish sort of feel. Bright colors mixed in with a little bit of black and white. Classic black and white. Well, except we're using gray, which also sort of works well. Dropping in more black at the bottom here just to really enhance that, the edges. The more you add color to areas, the darker it'll become. So this is another tip to keep in mind. You can even drop some in some of the other bits if you want to just enhance that. Perfect. So now we've got our little bauble at the bottom. It's done. It's ready. We can now proceed to do the flowers in the center. So it's dried up for the most part. And we're using our permanent rose and quinacridone magenta. I just want to do a quick swatch of the magenta just to make sure I have the right colors. This is what it's going to look like. And while we're at it, here's what the permanent rose looks like. Very, very pink, very similar to one another. I do think I will need a slightly darker version of these two, in which case I'm going to be blending a little bit of this with our sepia hue, which is right here. I've not blended it in with the color, so it's brown, but that's what it looks like. And yeah, so that's the whole idea. So we're going to start off with the base, and let me see, should we use, I'm going to use my Neptune number 6. The reason I'm using this is because I want the flower to be nice and loose and fun, and this brush is nice and thick, whereas the number 4 is nice, fine, and pointed. I think this will be great for our leaves that we end up doing, but I want the nice, looser, organic feel, so I'm using my number 6. Okay, so mixing some of the light pink first. So this is the rose. And I want the consistency to be about 20/80. And then I've got the 4 handy in case I want to add color directly from the color cake, like a nice dark color. Okay, so for our roses or big blooms, whatever you want to call it really. So we'll do about like maybe 2 a little bit off center, some peeping off from the side so it looks like it's a repeated pattern throughout. So I'm going to start my first one over here, and we're just going to lightly press down and get a nice little soft coverage for our first petal. I'm dipping the tip of my brush in water, and I'm going to kind of add another little stroke here. And I want to leave, this is going to be the center of our flower. So I'm going to leave that open, adding another stroke just like that. I want a different variation of hues happening within this flower just to sort of offset the nice roundness to our bauble. And then for our bottom petals, we're just sort of doing light little curves like this. And now, because this is one of those nice big blooms that's opened up, we're taking very muted version of our pink, and we're going to lightly create little strokes around it. Feel free to switch out your brush just to control the size of these if you don't want them to be thick. So I'm switching it out for my number 4 just to show you guys that you can get a nice thinner feel to your petals. all around like this. Okay. Now this is huge enough, like I'm not even sure if we'll have space for the others, but let's check it out. So now I'm going to use a mixture of the, no. We're just going to use the yellow ochre, and I'm going to drop tiny little lines within my flower here. So this is the center. And then towards the bottom where we've got our little arc strokes, I'm just dotting the area. Again, leaving that white space open. We don't want full coverage. We want haphazard coverage so that we get a nice loose look and feel to our florals. And then what I want to do is, remember I mentioned mixing some of the sepia with our dark color. That's what we're doing right now. Sorry, with our pink. That's what we're doing right now. So you just want a nice darker hue to complement this. And now going in with the number 4, dropping that color in right at the bottom of the flower so we get a nice dark to light effect. The more you dab, the darker it'll become. If you want to add a little bit of purple, that would also be super pretty. I'm dropping in some strokes on the outer bits here just to give me a little bit of that nice differentiation between the two layers happening. I do like the idea of adding just a little bit of purple, so I'm getting some of my permanent mauve and I'm mixing it in with that rose and the sepia that we had, and I'm just dropping a little bit in here. Getting a little bit more of this. We're just building up on the color that we have. Dropping some tones in here just so we get that nice pink happening suddenly. So now the same idea that we have here, actually before we move on, one quick thing. We want to add just a little bit of a slightly darker hue with our yellow ochre in the center. So I'm dropping in some of the sepia amongst the little tiny strokes that we did. So we get that nice brown mixed in, although it's looking green for me. I think I mixed too much green in there. We want to get little bits of brown mixed in with that nice yellow. Again, showing shadow, light and dark, contrast, all that good stuff. And if you see that it's kind of just blooming out into areas you don't want it to go, just take your brush, clean brush that is, and just lightly swipe off and dab it onto your paper towel. So you can continue taking off if you need to. So that's it. That's how we do the flower. We're going to go ahead and do one more. And I'll do this one. I'll make this one happen a little bit off to the side here. So there's clearly no room to do any, well, we'll see. Let's just go with the flow and see where this goes. Okay, so next flower, let's make this slightly darker than this one so we have a little bit of contrast happening. So I'm going to use the second color, which is the quinacridone magenta. Very, very similar to this one already. And I want to control the size of this flower, so I'm going to be using my number 4. But feel free to use the same thing if you liked how that first flower turned out. So go with the same technique. We're using the same technique. I'm going to turn my card sideways. So it's kind of facing this way, the flower. And I have to be mindful of this area that I want to leave white. So here goes. Wish me luck. Okay, so starting off, I just need to make sure I got enough water on my brush here so I can start off with center. Here we go. I'm doing little arcs. So this is going to be more of a rose feel. And I'm kind of very deliberately trying to skirt around this area that I want to leave white. And then as I'm going outward, I'm taking off or brushing off most of the water from my brush. And I am continuing with my comma strokes. Again, we want the darkest color in the center of the flower. So make sure you're not going darker as you go outward. I'm kind of almost washing off the color at the edge here so it gives us a nice fade off effect. Same thing at the top here because it's going off around the bend. So if we kind of just swipe off some of the color to make it seem like it's continuing on, we just don't see it because of perspective and all that good stuff. That also works. So we've got that nice big bloom. We're now going to do a dark version of this color. So taking that, mixing it in with a little bit of sepia. Hi, Leslie from BC. How's it going? So we have a nice darker tone. This is where I'm going to be dropping it into the center here. And then adding a little bit of strokes, a couple of strokes on the outer areas of our petals, mainly at the bottom here. And then right where it's hugging up this flower, or it's meeting this flower, I'm dropping in a couple more strokes there. Again, we want to have that nice depth feel. So that's what that looks like. I'm going to take some of the lighter tones around here and just drop a couple of strokes around. Fluffing. This is what I like to call fluffing. Okay, so now that that's done, we've got our two main flowers. You can even drop in a little bit of the Naples yellow within here if you want to sort of give it that, you know what, let's do that. Just a tad bit of Naples yellow. Drop that in. Just to give us a nice little two-tone, interesting contrast. Not contrast really, but like a double blend. Okay, all right. Hello from Mendocino. Did I say that right? Consuelo Young. Welcome. Okay, so let's get some greens happening over here. I'm very excited for how this is looking and turning out. We're going to get a little bit of green. And for that, I'm using my olive green mixed in with, I'm going to switch things around this time. Instead of using the sepia to mix it in with, I'm going to get a little bit of Payne's Gray. and mix that in with my olive green. So trying something different. And this is also a very nice looking green. And this consistency, I think, would be more for 40, 60, 30, 70-ish. I'm going to drop some in between the roses here just to get some green happening. So it looks like there's a nice soft green happening there. Dropping some at the edge here. Make it seem like there's stuff happening on the other side. And then right where I dropped it over here, we're going to extend and do a nice little stem. And I want the darkest to be at the bottom here. And then dipping the tip of my brush in water. Yes, you totally can use indigo. In fact, I was actually thinking about that, but I didn't include it in this set of colors, and I didn't want to suddenly switch up on y'all. So totally use indigo. I think that would also be refreshing and pretty. So we're just pressing down and trailing off and pushing all the color down to the area where it's meeting the flowers. We're getting a nice soft bloom of green in there. And now if you want to drop in a couple of like darker tones of green at the edge of the leaf, just to give us a nice dark in the corners feel. Does that make sense? I hope that made sense to you guys. And it just adds to our perspective, I think. So just like that. So we're going to continue doing the green bit. So start off light and then drop in color to slowly enhance the dark. Okay, so this one, let's do this happening here. Just like that. I'm doing a leaf right there, and this one, this stem can sort of extend. I don't mind if it extends, making it seem like there's more happening behind. Okay, that's not the way to lift color off, guys. Take a brush with just water and lift it off. Okay, don't use your nails like I just did. I don't know why I did that. So I'm taking more of the darker tone now and dropping that in here first, just where it meets the flower. And then we'll add more. Oh, totally, Consuelo. Totally. It's feminine. Totally makes a terrific gift for a lady friend. But this is actually a gift tag. So yeah, maybe a gift tag for a lady friend. So just dropping in our darker tones right on the edge. And even drop some in the other areas just to enhance it. So we've got greens now. Okay. So contemplating if we should add any more greens anywhere else. So what I'm going to do is leave these as the most prominent and then take a very watered down version of the rest and just add a couple of strokes, like maybe it's coming from behind, and same sort of leaves. We're not trying to recreate and complicate things too much. We want the colors to speak for itself. We want the white space to speak for itself. We just want simplicity. happening in here so that we're not overwhelmed. And we can repeat this several times. So there's one. I just realized, like, even though it's coming from the side, you still need to darken it a little bit. So let's do another one, weaving from the back at the top, coming downward. Oops. You can use the 0 for a more thinner experience and more detailed sort of fine lines. I can't be bothered to switch my brushes right now, so I'm just hovering and getting these strokes in here. Just like that. Now I'm taking the darker color and dropping that in where it is at the top. A little bit here. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, I think a couple of green happening here, and then we can end off with doing a couple of berries. And then I believe you let it dry and we can cut it out and see how this works. So let me get a little bit more green happening over here. And for the berries, I'm thinking the Naples yellow will be nice. Yeah, just like that. Get a little bit of dark and dab on the sides. Perfect. If you want to do a couple of green dots here and there, that can also work. Or if you want to do metallic, I'm going to do a couple of green dots actually, just to kind of make it seem like additional green details. I think I've mentioned this a few times already, but when you have your basics in design, like stripes and polka dots and some flowers, yeah, I love it. It's totally a vintage, classy vibe. Adding some of the detail right here where I'm trying to keep that white space. And some of the areas are drying up and they could use just a little bit more of the darker tones. So I'm just going to add drops there, or dabs of color, whatever you want to call it. Okay, done. Perfume bottle with this design on it? Yes, Laura, totally. Totally. It's super cute. Yeah, I would totally go with something like that as well. Okay, so I said berries. Yes, so let's do a couple of berries and then attach those babies and then we are done. So here we go, getting some of the Naples. I just want to make sure my battery is okay. I can't see battery. Oh, yeah, it's fine. Perfect. I hate having to like get up in the middle and change the battery. It's the most annoying thing, and I bet it's annoying for you guys as well. But I got to figure out this technology thing, and I'm trying. Okay, so here we go. Using the number 4, but you know what? I'm going to wash off my number 4, use my 0 instead. And nice fine pointed tip. These Princeton brushes are awesome. I am going to create tiny little circles, or maybe even like teardrop shapes, because we've got the little green dabs. So feel free to pick one of the two. And you can just really paint them in. You don't have to worry about the color consistency, watercolor ratio, or anything, just because they're so tiny that I don't think it'll be a massive deal how that happens. But I am doing biggest little bits at the bottom and then smaller at the top. So it's a nice transition. So I've got some here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Add that down there. And now washing off. I'm going to get some of the green. In fact, if you want to use a little bit more of a darker green, or even a brown, or even the Payne's gray, just to kind of really make it stand out from the rest, that works. I'm going to lightly attach and make these be in a little stem bit. And then from there, I'm going to add a couple more stems. And then feel free to add tiny leaves if you want, or if you want to leave it and just keep things simple, that also works. I'm just giving you all options, depends on how much work you want to put into this, really. Okay, so something like that works. So that's the idea. Feel free to add that in more areas around. So we've got one there. I'm going to add, I'm picking 2 more spots. It's a designer thing. Odd numbers as opposed to even numbers. Do things in odd numbers as opposed to even numbers, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to add some over here first. Same deal. I'm doing teardrop shapes. And these are obviously coming from behind. So I'm just leaving them there. And then one over here. This is also coming from behind. We have all seen a multitude of decorations this season, but none as impressive or beautiful as this. Thank you, Consuelo. That's so sweet. What a kind thing to say. I just feel like there's so much amazing creative work out there, and there's so much inspiration that you can never be, and in this day and age, especially TikTok, shorts, so many things, you can never be short of inspiration or tutorials for that matter. So getting some of this, we're now going to attach. I'm going to start here actually. And then attaching these ones to go back. And then I'll just do, because I have a couple of little leaves there, I'll just add a couple here. Extending here in this area where I'm trying to leave that white space, remember? Adding some leaves on this side. Adding one at the very base of this. So again, coming from behind. Okay, and I think, oh, maybe a little bit here. And once we're done this, I think we're done. I'll just add one more little blob here of green. And yeah, this is it. So I'm going to let this dry completely, and then we'll erase it and see how it works out. But like I mentioned, actually, wait, before we do that, but like I mentioned, I'm going to continue. I just want to add a couple of little strokes of very light gray. Not really needed, actually, because we're going to be cutting this out, so I think it'll be fine. But just using the zero and very lightly adding more of a shading kind of happening here. And a little bit on this side, very, very light. Remember, we are cutting this, but if you're not, then this serves a purpose in terms of really allowing the eye to see that implied line and structure. Actually loving this shadow bit here. I know someone has a question. Give me 1 second to finish this, and then I will manage or answer your question rather. I'm going to add a little bit more of this fine detailing at the bottom as well. Okay, done. But yet I'm finding it hard to put my brush down, even though we're done. Okay, done. Now I'm done. So you get that nice gradual effect with the light in the between and blah, blah. Here we go. Okay, lovely piece of work. Thank you, Leslie. If painting on a glass bauble, what type of paint should I use? Glad you asked. I would use the Polycolor by My Mary. This is what I like to paint on my wine bottles. I'm going to be painting some today, actually. So I've actually listed these on my Amazon store as well. In addition, if you want metallics, I would use the iridescent acrylic paint, also available on Amazon. I buy all my stuff off Amazon, by the way. Yeah, and it's got like a bunch of really great colors. This is also going to be for wine bottles mainly. And that's that. Okay, did anyone have any questions? And if you guys enjoyed this and you painted along, I would love to see your work. So don't forget to tag me on social media. And yeah, like the video, guys, share it. What I am going to do is I'm going to cut it out once it's dried up. I'm going to erase all the areas, and I will post a finished product of my gift tag so you guys can see it, and I'd love to see yours as well. So please, 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 if you do it, tag me. And hi, Josina. Thank you. Thanks, Tina. Oh, you guys were here. Awesome. Okay. So, guys, that is it. Thank you so much for a wonderful, wonderful year. Can't wait for more happening. So stay tuned. And like I mentioned, this is the last live for 2023. Stay tuned for more fun that's coming up in our pink series. Not these ones here. These are for the patrons, but we've got this little guy coming up as well. So paint, 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 share your work, and let's keep spreading the joy via art. Yeah, thanks guys. And I don't think anyone has any questions, but we can you can definitely put it in the comments if you're watching this on replay, and I am happy to address. Okay, thanks Jen. Happy New Year to you too. Glad you like it, Leslie. Very festive, right? Yeah, you can definitely add more metallics. I think that would be a lot of fun. All right, guys. So without further ado, have a fabulous Sunday, and I'll see you guys in the new year. We'll do lives again over there. Okay. Bye.